No $180 textbook. How in the world am I supposed to understand the basics of business with no text to memorize?
I haven't used a textbook in over a decade. I look back at my undergraduate years and I kept one textbook. And I sold the rest back. And then in my graduate school, I kept 2 textbooks. There were 2 really good ones, and I kept them and got rid of the rest. So I thought, why assign a book that nobody wants to keep anyway? And there's some good ones out there. That's not an indictment on the textbooks that are out there. But one of our goals as a business school is practical hands-on experiences. And so we believe that we can teach you more about business by running your own business in our business simulation than memorizing things in a textbook. Everybody in class will play an online business simulation. It's hands-on, it's a massive multiplayer online game. And that's really the centerpiece of the class, not a textbook. That bothers some people. I think lists and definitions and textbooks are comforting in their own way to some students, but we're not going to have that here. And people get used to it, perform very, very well without a textbook either.
CEOs and business owners enter the Business 1301 course room and speak to our students. What are some of these advantages for Business 1301 students? And name some of these guests.
Right in the center of class, the middle 20 minutes, we call it FaceTime, and we have a guest every day. Today our guest was the local Merry Maids franchise owner, and it's a national organization, and he's the local owner. But we've had a wide variety of people come in, from the CEOs of like Praxair, it's an industrial gas company, to Interstate Batteries, their CEOs came in. Drayton McLean is CEO of the McLean Company and owns the Student Astros. He's come in as a FaceTime guest before. So we've had very high level. Last week we had a very senior person at AT&T who's a Baylor grad come in. Many of these people who come in are Baylor alumni. They come in, and from large organizations to small organizations like the local Merry Maids franchise, or the Bear Mountain, it's a local outfitting store, or Amelia's Fashion Exchange, which is a local fashion consignment store, clothing consignment store. There's lessons to learn from these people at their elbow. They come in and they talk about their experiences, what they did right, what they did wrong, and their advice for you. There's as much good content there as in any sidebar in a textbook, and you get to interact, ask them questions, and talk to them after class usually, and that's a good thing.
Why read about Benjamin Franklin? Why not Bill Gates or Jay-Z, modern financial moguls who are rich, successful, and alive?
Good question. Why not study the living instead of the dead? Baylor is a liberal arts institution, and as an institution we believe that a variety of disciplines inform our humanity and allow us to be fully human. History is one of those, and Benjamin Franklin is, in my opinion, the most underrated American business figure in American history. Before he became a patriot and founding father, Benjamin Franklin was a businessman. And he just kind of wrote the book on American business success. That's why we read his autobiography. He's dead and gone, in his industry and the markets that he competed in have changed dramatically since his time. But the current business leaders of the world, people like Warren Buffett and Stephen Covey and others, have looked to Franklin for inspiration and have found it and learned from him. And I think he's worth studying because he doesn't come across our path easily anymore. Maybe I'm not opposed to learning from Bill Gates or Jay-Z. Both are very good, successful business role models. And maybe they'll come to class one day for FaceTime, you never know.
Today you gave a lecture on antiperspirants and deodorants. What does body odor have to do with Business 1301 and business in general?
Well, sweating and body odor is a huge problem. And business has provided an excellent solution for that. It's a solution that people pay money for, gladly, voluntarily, and use on a daily basis. Well over 90% adults do this. And it's something students do every day. I could build that lecture around, I don't know, chlorinated water or industrial gases or electronic sensors, something more abstract. And I guess there'd be benefit there. But because they use deodorants every day, it reaches into the student's world. Electronic sensors reach into their world, but they may not see them. Deodorants reach into their world in a tangible way. And so they can see that, hey, this is out of my life. I understand this. I might remember it next time I shop for antiperspirants or deodorants or go through my daily hygiene ritual. But I reach for it. You could reach for anything. You could do it with their pens. You could do it with their mobile devices. You could do it with the chairs. Everything is made somewhere, and everything's a business lesson.
Can Business 1301 students make a connection between what they learn in the business simulation and what you taught today about antiperspirants and deodorants?
Oh, I think it's immediately generalizable. You hear that from our FaceTime guests. The business sim, they make, I don't know, 15, 16 decisions a week, every week, same decisions, but promotion budgets, automation decisions, financial structure decisions, working capital decisions. And those are triggers that any business can pull. You can promote differently, you can cut your costs. You know, there's not, you know, the easy list is fairly short. And they do that in Foundation, and I think it's immediately generalizable because they can look at the deodorant industry and see if somebody's moving up their deodorant promotional budget by buying, I don't know, a Super Bowl ad, or they see more print ads for it or things like that. I think they can make the jump fairly easily with the sim.
Are you, Mr. McCormick, plagued with excessive sweating?
Only when I'm dealing with really difficult interviewers.
Oh.
No, I don't have excessive sweating. I'm in that normal range. As near as I can tell, I'm in that normal range. No hyperhidrosis with me.
Well, what about the current state of business affairs? Does that make you sweat?
Yeah, there are some things that make me sweat about the current economic situation. I think one of the things would be the uncertainty of the government regulation situation. You know, you see possible healthcare packages, talks of taxes or fees for bailouts, you know, and the government's taking a lot of action right now, and some of it's very justified. But they're creating at the same time a great deal of uncertainty for business owners. And that just means the economy is going to stall, everybody's sitting and waiting and really sweating, while investments in factories are waiting for the decisions to be made so they can go forward with some kind of certainty, and that makes you sweat.
How is Baylor's Hand-Camera School of Business putting certainty back into the business world for future business leaders of the world?
I think you can put certainty, inject some degree of certainty back in through building competency. When you're competent in your business decisions, be they financial decisions or marketing decisions, when you know how to do something, you know why you're doing that. In the end, you control what you can control. And I guess what we try to do here is build people up. Yes, there's going to be some degrees of uncertainty. I think we're at a higher degree of uncertainty than normal right now. But under any degree of uncertainty, if you know how to control what you can control, you go forward with the greatest kind of confidence in any kind of situation, and hopefully those are the students we're preparing.
We have the successful business person
Right.
and the unsuccessful business person. If you had to choose one thing, what would be the ultimate difference between the two?
Wow. A successful business person and an unsuccessful business person. If I had to choose one thing, I think it would be discipline. The world belongs to the disciplined. The successful business person worked hard to master the knowledge they needed to master, be that accounting and passing the CPA or marketing and understanding how to do research. They worked hard and mastered that, and then they went out and they worked hard and built their business. They had the discipline to get up in the morning, work hard, and see it through. And so if I had to put my finger on one thing that I see separating successful from unsuccessful business people, And in some degree, successful and unsuccessful students, it would be discipline.
Is the Business 1301 course designed to build a successful business leader?
Well, we don't have you can't major in self-discipline here. But at least I design my course where the course is structured where if you try to fit into it, it will carry you along. We have targets every week. I do everything I can to help you be disciplined by hitting these targets each week. As you hit those targets, you build your skill set. It's not just, we don't launch the course and say, well, in 16 weeks, well, I hope you get up every day and read what you're supposed to. Hope you succeed, good luck, and then walk away for 16 weeks and come back and see who does it. Some people are going to do it, but I think if you structure your class right, you can get a higher degree of success.
Why at the front of the classroom do you keep the King James Bible with the Wall Street Journal slipped into it? It's kind of different, some would think.
It's a different thing, and we explained that early on in the class. Baylor is a historically Baptist school. The business school embraces that heritage, and it sets up a great conversation for the class. We want to talk about the intersection of faith and business, on a regular basis, and that's something that we want to do. And so, the King James Version obviously represents faith, and the Wall Street Journal represents business. We're going to do an excellent job at both of those. We're called to be our best at both of those, and I keep that up there. With as it is, not that one's on top of the other or they're not far apart, but they're here and they're together, and one folds over the other and informs the other, and sets up that conversation. That's why we keep that front and center.